For so long, we've been here, we've been trying to break.
Hi there, and welcome to another exciting session about on Springboard Hangout. This hangout is a different one. We start with a surprise. So I'm sure you are wondering what surprise do we have for you. You will get to know shortly. But welcome to our next episode in our lives as listeners of the Springboard Hangout. Today, we're going to talk about something exciting. We're going to talk about how to make money via entrepreneurship. And it is going to be exciting because we have a little twist. I'm sure you said last week you did enjoy our session where we had the ingredients of waakye, and we saw how teamwork can relate to waakye. Today, what are we using to present entrepreneurship? Don't go anywhere. We have exciting people in the studio, and it promises to be wow. But when we had the Springboard Youth Dialogues last 2 weeks, we were privileged when the Honorable Deputy Minister for Finance, Mr. John Kuma, promised one young gentleman there that you would get a phone. And he did really fulfill his promise. And therefore today we have this young man who has won a phone, who is a student of Tema Technical Institute, in studio to pick up his prize. His name is Bismarck. Bismarck, what do you have to say to the Honorable Minister for Finance, who's for giving you a phone?
Oh, I thank the Honorable for giving me a phone.
Mm-hmm.
I send my greetings to him this evening.
Okay.
I greet him. So I thank him. Honorable, thank you for giving me the phone.
Indeed, Honorable Kuma, Bismarck is sending his full shout outs to you, saying thank you so much, Bismarck Forson, a student of first year student actually. And when we're interacting now off stage, he did tell me that he came all the way from the Western region. Wow. What do you like most about your school?
Oh, my school is cool.
It's cool, eh?
It's cool.
That's all. He's summarized it. The school is cool, and that's it. Mr. Adolfo Anderson, thank you so much for bringing Bismarck tonight. Do you have anything that you would like to say to other students?
Well, I would say they should take Springboard program very serious.
Fantastic.
I remember I got to know Springboard when I was in school, when it was at street fair.
Wow.
So when I was coming, I saw a school bus, and I said to myself that wherever I'll be posted, I will bring my students to Springboard. So since then, anytime I hear of it, I try to call the hotline. Then they send me a letter to bring
Exactly.
students. And it has been quite inspiring. Let me say that through Springboard, I've been able to write a book.
Yay! So you have a copy here for us.
I also have a surprise for you.
So surprise. Should I give it? Let me give him his phone, and then I will receive. Yes, and then you give it to me. Yes. Okay, Bismarck. As we thank the Honorable Minister for giving us you are now a proud owner of a 16-gig Technophone. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being part. And I hope everything that you learned that day, you make it part of your life as you go forward.
Yes.
Fantastic. So now it is my turn to receive. Bismarck, please have your seat.
Now
it's my turn.
I also have a surprise for Springboard because I drew the inspiration through Springboard. Anytime I come, they keep saying what you can use your skills, your talent. So I kept going through myself and being a counselor, talking to students about career. So why don't I put these things together? So I began. Then by the grace of God, I've been able to come out of this book.
Discovering your talent. Fantastic.
Thanks to Springboard. I've begun somewhere. So let us defend this to Springboard.
Thank you. We really appreciate this for writing a book about discovering your career. So you can find it. Which bookstores can they find that?
Currently, you can get it at Scripture Union Bookshop Committee 8.
Okay.
Near the Lighthouse Chapel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you go look for the book by Seth Edu Anderson, Discovering Your Career, and you'll find some very interesting career tips to help you as you go along. That's so lovely. Thank you so much. We are very, very grateful. And so we start with surprises and we'll continue with more surprises. And therefore, welcome once again to Springboard Hangouts. It promises to be exciting. We'll have all the tips and everything about entrepreneurship. We will be going for a short break. When we return, we'll see what is going down, is going down, is going down. We'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. Call a friend to be part of this program because it promises to be very
Daily. Hold your tongue, stop the cussing out, and let your light shine from the inside out. Too many people, mostly talking down, start to act one good did by another. Wake up, smell the coffee, nothing's changing when we're blaming. If we really need a loving, then we must be out there giving. Why don't you wake up, smell the coffee, nothing's changing when we're blaming. If we really need an uplift, then we must be up for lifting. Oh, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, smell the coffee, nothing's changing when we're blaming. If we really need an uplift, then we must be up for lifting. Wake.
He's a turnaround.
Welcome back to our Springboard Studios. And I can tell you something is actually cooking in the studios. Today we are talking about entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship, we've talked about it before, but today we are talking about it in a different slant. And today we are looking at entrepreneurship, looking at first what the framework looks like, how the whole process begins. And I have somebody in the studio. In fact, a young gentleman, and he's doing something. Can you show what he is doing, please? Can we see him? But is that entrepreneurship? Willie, is that entrepreneurship? Is that entrepreneurship?
Yeah,
Why?
it's in the form of arts.
Right. So I think I will ask somebody else to tell me exactly what is going on here. So we have in the studio, as you can see, to my immediate right in all white. Can you see it's all white? So it tells you that you're going to be victorious in the studio today. In all white today, we have Evans Kwesi Mensah. He's a lean Sigma 6 or Six Sigma belt. He's also a McKinsey fellow and company fellow. He is a business and organizational strategist. He's a consultant in brief. And today we are going to consult him as we go along. And then next to him, to his immediate right, we have Charles Karim Busum Pra, also known as KB. And KB is a serial entrepreneur, a serious one. So we have a consultant, we have an entrepreneur, and Karim, as KB, as you also, is also into youth development. And therefore, we brought him on so that it's not just the entrepreneurship part, but also that part which speaks to others about the possibilities that one has. So, KB, as we were dreaming about this, we talked about the canvas.
Yeah.
What are we doing over there?
So, as you can see, he's just trying to put together an art, and business or entrepreneurship is in that similar light. He's using just a common paper and a pencil to actually create something, you know, that will bring value to someone. And that's what entrepreneurship is. It's about using ordinary things around you and a skill to actually create value that people are willing to pay for. So in this case, the ordinary resource is the paper the pencil is a tool, and his skill is the value that he is putting on the paper that somebody may at some point be willing to pay for. So we're actually using art to explain in simple terms what entrepreneurship really is.
We are using art to explain what entrepreneurship is. So at this time, what concept do you have in mind that you have started with, if I may know? So to give us the end goal of what you are attempting to achieve here.
Okay, so this is like an Afro-futuristic character.
A character?
Yes, please.
So that means that it's an abstract piece.
Not really abstract.
Okay, tell us
Starting
more.
as an abstract, and then
Yeah.
you will then add the frameworks to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like a raw material, and then we enhance it into other various forms of artworks.
Okay, okay. So then if we say that's the viewpoint. So in this case, what does the paper represent, Charles?
So the paper represents the materials, the resources. Every entrepreneur starts from a place, and you need something that you're going to transform or add value to. The best businesses are businesses that solve complex problems in a simple way. Oftentimes, if your business is solving a simple problem in a complex way, then you've missed it. And so he's trying to use everyday things. You know, the best business are things that are everywhere. One of the most profound things I realized is to know that the richest man in Africa sold sugar and flour. I mean, who would have thought something so simple? He didn't, do something mind-blowing, but just sugar and flour. Sometimes it's not just doing the impossible. It's about spotting simple materials all around us. So the paper represents something which is available, which is accessible. The pencil is a tool that he's using to create value onto that paper that somebody may be willing to pay or buy. And that's basically what entrepreneurship is. Using a skill to add value to a common material that somebody is willing to pay for.
Do you have anything to add to this, please?
No, I just want to first thank you for the opportunity to be here, first and foremost, and also to be with my brother, doing all the things, and using the real life example. What I admire about the whole thing is we are not creating something out of the ozone layer. It is right here next door to us. And so using these pictorials to now metaphorically connect it to your personal life, what you are good at, and like God asked Moses, what do you have in your hands? He used that. He didn't say, go look for a stick somewhere. He used that old rugged stick to help that person to be able to help him. So I think you have to be thinking as an entrepreneur. I want to be careful though to say, I'm not here to say everybody is born an entrepreneur.
Sure.
That's a whole different topic.
Definitely.
However, if you identify that gift, that opportunity, the question is, how do you sharpen that to be a better person of who you are? That's what I'll add in a brief sense.
So, number one, we're talking about ordinary things, and therefore, as budding entrepreneurs or people who think that they have some career. Yeah. And why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because when we did the youth dialogue, one of the things that came up was that entrepreneurship is one of the ways to go. Yeah. And sometimes we think that it is this mystical stone. Yeah. That we must reach out for. Yeah. But as Evans brought it out so clearly to us, yeah. It was what Moses had in his hands. Exactly. And it is what he also has in his hands. Yes. His talent yes. as an artist. Yes. That is what he's using yes. to create value for somebody yes. to say, okay, I enjoy it, I like it, exactly. Let's go to market.
Exactly, exactly. That's what entrepreneurship is.
So it's like I'm on the right track. And our people, I mean, and you're really enjoying this because I see Sophie Tando saying that using a skill to add value to common material that someone is willing to pay for. Yeah. So thank you. I mean, thank you for showing us that this is really an interesting conversation. And Young McCall is saying that you are watching live. Thank you for watching live. Call your friends to also join us in this episode that we are creating, and we are adding value to what we are doing here. Yeah. Right. So we adding skills, we adding value, and we are saying that indeed we are on a roll here. If we say that we brought in common materials, anything in our environment.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we have to start from? Is there let's say if there's a pie,
Yeah.
let's say if there's an entrepreneurship pie,
Yeah.
what are the aspects of the entrepreneurship pie that would enable someone to become, to be a good entrepreneur?
Yeah.
What are those 4 things? I mean, I know that definitely an idea should be part. Am I right, Evans?
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
What kind of idea and why?
So I think the subliminal idea even is we glorify the idea, but we need to also look at
What?
the thought.
The thought.
Yeah, because before the idea even comes, you mull over things over days, months,
Yeah.
which is unseen.
Yeah.
The fear of failure,
Yeah.
the fear of just going into something that
Yeah.
you may not succeed. Maybe your medical bills will not be paid. You have to pay yourself now.
Yeah.
People go through that. That's the beginning point. The fear part, which is not on paper. However, the idea stage, it's the beginning of the success. It's like the foundation that you're trying to create.
Yeah.
And then from the idea stage, then you add value on the things. I know you're going to,
Yeah.
to a bigger level. But I think that the missing part sometimes what people don't see is that aspect of when that person sat down, like my brother's business.
Yeah.
Today
Thought
you're telling me
processes,
great.
yeah.
The thought processes
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you went
yeah,
through.
yeah.
Friends
It-
are going to laugh at you.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
can I make it
Yeah,
happen?
yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Are
you losing
it
that
looks
check to
crazy,
do
yeah,
this?
it
Are
looks
you
crazy,
sure?
yeah.
I believe comfort, you and your husband. They're like, are you really springboard? But look at you. So sometimes
Exactly.
using yourself as an example, that's one of the steps, I think.
Exactly. Before I started the business, I had an opportunity to work in the bank, and I decided to go the other route and start a business. And most people were like, there's something wrong with you.
Because you're quite,
No.
in their mind, you were quite settled.
Who in his right mind passes the opportunity to work in the bank to start a business? There's something. Let's check his temperature. Something is fundamentally wrong with this guy. I mean, some screws are loose. Are you really serious? I mean, and so just like how he's creating the art, he has in his mind what he wants to do, and when
He's
he starts,
visualizing.
exactly visualizes it. It looks abstract. It looks, it doesn't have meaning. It looks weird, but because he knows what is in his mind, he visualizes what he wants, and out of that, he develops what we call a vision for the business. So it starts by visualizing what you have, and like my brother said, the thought processes, the risks, the fear, people see, people think, and the boldness it takes to go forward and bring that vision into a reality. And that's where, one of the things that are very important, that you have to have the boldness to bring that vision into reality. You must have a vision of what you want.
But the vision is not enough.
Yeah.
The visualization is not enough, because if he does the artwork and one of the things I'm privileged to do is almost every Friday evening, the family, we get together and we do movie night.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we like watching is the various anime series that you have.
Yeah.
So you have these serious people and they are and interestingly, instead of you know anime, you have the English translation, but instead of listening to the English version, we'll listen to the Chinese, which we have no clue about, and then we'll rather read the translations on screen.
Yeah.
But I always sometimes wonder how they are able to do that, create that character that is speaking those words and so on. But what if they created the thing and I wasn't interested in watching it?
Yeah.
Will the business come to pass? I'm looking at, is there a need, is there a match between what you are creating and what society wants?
And that's relevance. So
Okay.
you have to get to the point where not only must you have a vision, but you must make the vision relevant. It's not enough to have an idea, but the idea must be relevant. There must be a need for that idea. And you'd be surprised that some of these people who do some of these visual animated series actually know that not everybody has the language, but they created at the back of their mind that even when you watch it, you fall in love with it. Because they know. So they consider some of the best songs I find. I don't even know what the song means, but you like the song.
You like the song.
Exactly.
I mean, if you watch Moses and is it the Prince of Pharaoh?
Yes.
There can be miracles.
Yes. I mean, exactly. It moves you.
It moves. It
Yes,
moves you.
you know. So number one, you have to have a vision, but number two, you must pass the test of relevance.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how brilliant the idea is. If we don't need it, we don't want it.
So does relevance bring you customers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
How do I identify who wants my work?
that is where you go back to. You know, sometimes we look too forward without going back. There's a reason there's a rearview mirror and a windscreen, okay? If you ignore both and you focus on the rearview mirror, you're going to get accident. You focus too much on the bigger one, which is also important. You need to spy quickly. Now, we go back to chew the card a bit. Now, you need to do your homework. You need to know your target audience. That's where a bit of marketing also comes in. Sometimes certain products are not meant for everybody.
Okay.
So you need to know who you are targeting, what space you are targeting. And so then you connect with the right people or do a bit of research. Unfortunately, most of our people want all capital. They don't want to read. They don't want to give themselves opportunity, or get coaches to guide them, or even listen to these beautiful programs like this to learn for free. So my thinking is they go back and put things together and know what exactly they want. That might take 80% of your time, and the rest that we see might just be the 20%. So it's good to know the target audience and then create some. That will be the beginning point of success.
Okay. So I have visualized. I attempt to see who are my market, and then how relevant I would be to that particular market. If I do that and I realize that what I have is good, but my market doesn't want it, what do I do?
So that is why you have to create. There's nothing wrong in revisiting your challenges, and if you have challenges, we all fail. When Thomas Edison made bulb, he failed so many times, but sometimes the fear of failing, or losing money, capital. I'm an example of that. So it does not matter. You come back to the drawing table and you re-strategize, because the needs of the customer is changing every day. The mindset of people are changing every day. So you don't create like the marketing process in the old time. It used to be marketing. It became sales. It became societal. People are now buying environment. They're buying packaging. So you need to give the customer what they want versus what you want. Mostly we give them what we think they want, versus doing the survey to know what the customers want. So go back to where you went wrong along the way, and then do intelligent service, and then you can prototype and go back to basis. I think that's the beginning point of success.
Fantastic. So then, if I hear you very well, you're attempting to bring something unique onto the market. Am I right?
Yes. Uniqueness. Yes.
Uniqueness. What makes what is one tool that you can give us for making our work unique?
Let me put it this way: what is the difference between a bottle of water and a rock of diamond? Which is important and which is valuable?
If you are dying, water is valuable.
But so there's this theory of the water diamond theory that I kind of invented in explaining something to someone.
Okay, go ahead.
If in ordinary setting, all things be equal, if I give you a rock of diamond and a bottle of water, you wouldn't think twice than to pick the diamond. But it's a rock.
It's a rock.
It's a rock. Who in his right mind would kill for a rock? But why is a rock valuable? Because it's scarce. Because it's unique. Water is abundance. So water is important. There may come a time where people would, if there's scarcity of water, water may become more valuable than diamond. Yes. So when it comes to business, you always ask yourself, it doesn't matter how brilliant your idea is, how unique is the idea? Because it is the uniqueness that gives it value. It is the uniqueness that exponentially increases its value. It is how unique the business is that makes someone decide to go for A and not for B. When Nokia came out, it was a phenomenal, business.
Yes.
But when the iPhone came out and it was all screen, it wasn't a better phone than Nokia. It was a unique phone. When Samsung went to the same plan, it was, by the time Nokia got to the smartphone era, they were out. So sometimes,
knocked out.
exactly, sometimes it's not building a better business, it's building a different business.
A unique one.
A unique one. What is the difference between Tesla and Ford? Ford is a good company, but Tesla is a unique company. Why? Because they've taken electric cars to the next level. So uniqueness separates your business from everybody else. It won't make somebody decide to go with you and not with the rest.
Indeed, I mean, and this week Tesla has been in the news because the guy is actually giving, I don't know, I've forgotten how much billions out to help end hunger in the world, and they became the richest company. Man, he became the richest individual.
Man. Yes, he's now he at a point was richer than Warren Buffett and Bill Gates combined. Now he's twice wealthier than Warren Buffett.
And some time ago, Warren Buffett was the richest man in the whole wide world.
Exactly.
Why
Warren Buffett now
can we
behind?
Get Warren Buffett's in this country. Okay, we'll look at it. We'll look at it. So, are there any challenges that come up when people are having entrepreneurs are starting? You talked about the thing of the doubt, the self-doubt.
Right.
What other challenges can potential entrepreneurs face?
Well, I mean, the obvious one is the fear of failure, the fear of your parents or friends or colleagues teasing you out, the fear of exposure to. Sometimes not everybody is good at the type of product you are going in for. Maybe you have to be on social media or do something about it. And I'm a testimony myself. For years, I wasn't even on social media for over 5 years. I'm there spying people. I'm fine because I was working in corporate America. I was successfully doing everything, rising the climb the ladders. But when I became an author, no 1, 2 books, back-to-back best-selling, I'm like, okay, my marketing team, they got to put me out there. My name is out there. I'm getting used to it. To be honest, I'm still trying to get used to it. It's not easy. So at that point, that was a tough decision point for me. And I know a lot of people also go through that, thinking those are some of the things that people go through, and that can take you a lot of time to even overcome. Another bigger challenge is the financial aspect, capital.
Okay.
Reverend Mrs., you have a lot of titles. I don't know which one to use
No,
for
my
you.
name is
But
Comfort.
So put it this way. But the biggest challenge I have with people, especially in this segment of the continent, Africa, is that most of the ideas have to be so much capital intensive, which is the biggest idea. We are old, everybody's on WhatsApp. Do you know how WhatsApp started? Do you know how Facebook started? It wasn't capital intensive. But everything we do has to be capital intensive. We don't have wisdom intensive. So we need to start thinking of how best to still succeed as an entrepreneur. Those are some of the challenges that people have.
You know, this week, Tesla's value exceeds the GDP of South Africa. But guess what?
Yes.
He was actually...
He's a South African.
Exactly. But why is it not there now?
John McCall says that he's watching live, and then Sophie Tando says that we're using a skill to add value to a common material that someone is willing to pay for. I think I've read it already. I'm not very sure. And Samuel Nim Jr. says, "I'm here, song." Philip Tete says that pragmatism and gives you Jimutu. So, Munjimutu. And Sophie says that it starts with visualization that you have in order to bring that vision to reality. And Samuel Nim Jr. says your idea must be relevant. And Real Ade Tony says relevance is key. But I have to say this, says that the gentleman doing the pencil work is a genius. People have talent. Charlie, you didn't hear? This is Charlie, you're a genius. So what are you doing for us? We'll come to you before we stop today. But Charlie, so if you're looking for challenges, we've looked at some of the challenges, given us some of the challenges. So the key thing is learning to adapt, not having a capital intensive, capital intensive so that you not be able to you don't have enough let me say runway to take off. Okay, what you wanted to add?
So to add to what he said on failure, we all love Harry Potter, but most people don't know that J.K. Rowling actually was rejected 12 times before Harry Potter was published. If she had given up because she thought she had failed, we would have never known the Harry Potter story. And so the fear of failure, as he said, is very important. We have to move through the barrier of failure. But what I want to add to it is the adaptation.
Adaptation.
Yes, and that's very key. In the year 1833, a man called Charles Goodyear decided to try something different. People called him crazy. At that time, people were using carriages, and wooden tires and so many difficulties. And he had the concept that rubber, which is a common product, can be used to actually do more than what he was doing. So in his wife's kitchen, he started doing different things, and he then began to create rubber bags for the postal service and so on. But at some point, he realized that his business needed to adapt. He wasn't solving a key problem. Though he had found a way to use rubber to do many things, he had to adapt to where the train was going. So one day, he was holding in his hand a rubber product that had sulfur rubbed on it, and it fell on a hot stove. And then suddenly, it began to char. And then he realized that, wait a minute, the rubber hardens and changes its chemical structure. We can do something with it. So the business that he started doing bags for people evolved into producing car tires that today we call Goodyear tires.
Goodyear tires.
Yes, that's how it evolved from there. And so businesses, there's nothing wrong in having difficulties, but are you willing to evolve and adapt? Yes. The evolution.
The evolution is very key.
The only constant change is change. Yes. Change or die.
Indeed, we have to change or die. And therefore, on that note, we're going for a quick break. When we return, we'll see that because we change, we will not die, and we'll continue this conversation. Don't go anywhere. Call a friend. We'll be right back.
Today's game changer is for the creators. And make no mistake, you are a creator. Whether you blog, podcast, make music, make YouTube videos, or anything else, you count. But creating content isn't easy on the best of days, and doing it consistently is even harder. So today's game changer is simply a reminder to keep going and keep creating. Why? Let's ask Mariah Carey. Mariah recorded the album Merry Christmas in 1994. And while the album wasn't a world beater, one song on it stood the test of time. Yep, I'm talking about All I Want for Christmas Is You. Mariah wrote the holiday bop in just 15 minutes, and initially she didn't think much of it, but the world had other ideas. This week, our game changer is dividends. Despite being written over 2 decades ago, All I Want for Christmas pays Mariah Carey till this day. By 2000, its highest chart position was 84th. But due to internet streaming, the song has hit new heights in recent years. The song was streamed over 12 million times on Christmas Day in 2020, causing it to finally hit number 1 on the Billboard charts 25 years after its release. Oh, and by the way, the song has paid Mariah over $60 million in royalties. So here's the point. Keep creating, because you never know which of your creations will finally break through. And don't forget, all it takes is one. You know how our parents always warn us that the internet is forever? That applies to good things too. Your creations can pay dividends for years, whether financially, by creating professional opportunities, or in a million other ways. So stay consistent, keep creating, and wait for the breakthrough. This has been The Game Changer with Jojo Okran. Have a phenomenal week.
Welcome back to the Springboard Studios, and today we are talking about entrepreneurship, and we are doing entrepreneurship in a different way. We've brought Kelvin into the studio, and Kelvin is showing us how we can use ordinary materials to create something of value that people are interested in paying for, which in a sense is entrepreneurship. So if you are there, you're wondering, I've heard so much about it. What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is simply taking different things that are ordinary things that are in our environment, and finding ways to use that to create value. He is using paper, pen, and pencil, and the rubber to create value on her. Can you give me a close up of the blank slate that we started with, Kelvin? Yeah, the blank slate that this is where we've reached right now. And Kelvin, who do you have? Who is starting to emerge? Who is starting to emerge on your paper?
Okay, so this is an imaginational artwork depicting like an African queen.
Those kind of...
like me.
Yes, please.
Yes, go on.
So it's like an African queen, more like Afro-futuristic.
Okay.
So since we are entering into the technological era, it's more like queen being in the 21st century or advanced century. Yeah.
Advanced century.
Yeah.
That is our futuristic queen. Okay, so that's a springboard queen. Very powerful lady. And I would like to see her doing something in the studios one of these days. You'll be surprised what we can come up with in the springboard studios. Yes, so we're talking about the value that he has created using his the ordinary things.
Yes.
We also saw how, and part of the conversation, we talked about how things can change.
Yes.
Or you may have an idea, but the idea may not be valuable
Yes.
at some point. But
Yes.
looking at what you need to adapt
Yes.
to make that idea valuable,
Yes.
you can come onto a great idea, like
Yes.
Goodyear found
Yes.
with his
Rubber ties.
with the ties, and also you mentioned you yourself
Yeah.
in your own work, right? So Charles, if you is it possible that when you start the entrepreneurship journey, you always get everything right? Is it possible that you would have mistakes? Is it or once you start, be like the thing they go?
That's a good question. Well, so you have to embrace failure as part of the journey.
Okay.
The failure is not the problem, but failing to learn is the problem. So I once had a very interesting book I was reading, and that title was Ready, Fire, and Aim.
Ready, fire, and aim.
Yes. And the concept is sometimes people aim for so long they never fire. And so entrepreneurship, sometimes it's like that. You are going to have failures. You are going to have difficulty. And sometimes after a person fails 2-3 times, they then get into the ready, aim, fire. And they spend so much time at the aiming that they never end up firing. And so challenges may come, difficulties may come. You will face challenge. I mean, when I started my company, there were times that paying staff was very difficult. You know, keeping the company afloat was difficult, keeping rent, keeping bills. So I remember I had to, sack myself from my own company, go get a job, use my salary to pay the workers, and keep the company afloat. You know, and I had staff who were wearing designer shoes.
When you saw them, what were you feel like doing to them?
And you know, I remember at that particular time, I saw one of my guys wearing a very expensive shoe. Then my shoe was 20 cedis. I bought it in the traffic, and I was wearing it. And I was working for an international shipping line. You know, very well paid, very well vested. But everything I made was to keep the company afloat, to keep the workers paid, to keep things running. And I'll wear 20 Ghana shoes, and I'll be moving about, walking about, you know. I used to have 2 handkerchiefs, one for my face, one for my shoe, you know, just to make sure that before you enter into a client office, you clean your shoes, and then you clean your face, then you sit down for 5 minutes, make sure the sweat dries up before you move in, you know. And so the struggles come day in, day out. But the resilience, the determination, the fight in you to keep going and not quit and not give up is what eventually brings the success out. Sometimes it's not whether you're better than your adversary. It's the matter of who's willing to give up first.
It's not that you're better than your adversary.
It's the fact that you're not willing to give up first.
You will not give up. And so you will move, you will do everything. If it's in silly shoes, whilst your staff
wearing designer shoes. They can shop in boutique, you go to Cantamanto. No problem. But you pay them well, so the job keeps going. You get it? The sad thing is that sometimes when the company grows and then you start wearing designer shoes, then they start complaining. Look at boss, look at the shoe he's buying. But
they forget the size of the price.
Exactly. And that's the problem, you know. That's the problem. Because when you are paying the price, people don't see it.
That part.
You know?
And it's so true, is that not?
It is.
Evans?
Yeah, it is true. I think I mentioned that earlier on, that those are the invisible things. That's why when we started, I started by saying, I don't want to start running, but to encourage people to understand that the things that you go through in your bedroom, in your wherever you sleep in, most of the successes or even the failures I go through right now, in the 90s, I visualized them. I used to go through every challenge you can imagine, and I come back, create a movie for years. It's a personal series. Okay, if I'm successful, this is what I'll do. This is the type of person I'll marry. This is I create my own family. It becomes a series. I do it like 2 hours every night before I sleep. So right now, I'm just living what I have. And then, by the way, I did not just sleep and dream. I worked hard at it. I worked smart at it. And I surrounded myself with the right people who can guide me. And I too can be there to guide people. And all sort of things came with it. So
I'll add to that. It said a dream is not what you see in your sleep. A dream is that which keeps you from sleep. If you're comfortable sleeping, you don't have a dream.
No, it's a wish.
True.
That's a wish.
Did you hear that? If you're comfortable sleeping, it's not a dream. It's just a wish. Okay. That is not a dream. A dream is that which prevents you from sleeping.
Yes.
There are some myths about entrepreneurs. And I want us to see if those myths are they true or not. One of the myths is that entrepreneurs are born and not made.
Okay. I think that's the biggest lie of all.
It's the biggest lie.
It's the biggest lie.
Why?
To say entrepreneurs are born and not made is to say every leader was born to be a leader. You know, and every one thing I want to add is entrepreneurship is a skill that you can learn.
That you can
So
learn.
others are naturally, just like he's naturally gifted in drawing, some people are naturally gifted with the skills, leadership skills that allow them to become entrepreneurs. But others can be trained and can acquire that skill.
So
to
guys,
grow.
you can acquire the skills of entrepreneurship. That is if you want to. It's not something that is for everybody. It's not for the faint heart. Okay. No, is it true? Okay, it's not for the faint-hearted. I'm demystifying my own myth, but let me find out something. Is it true that entrepreneurs are lucky?
Not necessarily. That you have to work hard at it. But
Why?
let me say this. There's a two-part to that question.
Okay.
Some people are born with their parents already successful, with a golden spoon in their mouth. So with that, they can be lucky to have everything if they put their mind to it. We need to not only look at the other side of life, but on the bigger side of life, not necessarily. Of course, a bit of luck and favor comes into it for its success. Because if you walk into a room, you can speak all the English you want, bring all the 100 files and how prepared it is. But there's something about you that's not kicking. There's something back there in the global world. They interview people, connect with people, and it's left with 2 people or 3. Everybody is qualified to get that funding, that opportunity. But the CEOs go back and the board of directors, they won't say, they have a term. They go about to say, the oomph. Who has that oomph? So sometimes a bit of luck also comes. We can't sit here and just say, no, it's just how sharp you are. And that also comes in the fact that entrepreneurs, we need to add value, especially artistically. That's one of the values that we need to add to be competitive globally in everything that we do. So there's a bit of both in there.
There's an old quote that says, fortune favors the bold.
Fortune favors the bold, but what about those who are prepared?
Exactly, because I think that boldness is a byproduct of preparation.
Exactly. Exactly.
The more prepared you are,
The bolder you are.
Exactly.
Definitely. So
So-
I definitely think that entrepreneurs are not lucky. They are prepared and they wait for the right time to launch their product. Another, your words are also flowing in. Ebela Meya says that indeed uniqueness separates one business from the rest. And Real Adade Tony says that I'm loving the program and he's giving us all kisses. We also kiss you back. And Ebela says that be willing to adapt and evolve the business. Love this show. And then someone, I think Junior says that, I think your guest is also a historian. Great example of the Goodyear tie. And Ebela says that Samuel Anim Jr. says that today's game changer is really relevant. And Sophie, yes, Sophie says that the springboard queen. So please, Calvin, please make sure that you put there the springboard queen. And Matthew Frimpong is watching us live from Europe. And he says that great information for our generation. And Philip Tete says that pragmatism. And Ebela says that the struggles come daily, but the resilience you have keeps the company going. Thank you. Thank you. I really, really enjoy that. And as Samuel Nim Jr. says, entrepreneurs, please start firing yourself to look for work and money to pay your staff. Samuel, it is that the hustle is real. This, I mean, and they have laid it down real for you to see that. If you see the guys when they have succeeded and they say, oh, now I have X number or I'm able to make this amount of turnover. It didn't come on a silver platter. They work for it. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, yes, you would enjoy it, but you have to work for it. I have this. Oh dear. I had another question for you, and it was this about the myths. Entrepreneurs are lucky because they are successful because they are charismatic.
It adds value.
Is it a
Charisma also adds value, but it depends on the work because we cannot put all in one box. It depends on. It's just like when you are a speech maker. If you are just rhetorical and just want to speak to the crowd, there's a way you cover the room and you speak. That's different. But then entrepreneurs can be those behind the scenes who are doing IT, who are molding the pods. You don't need to be charismatic. Just let the product be charismatic for you.
Charisma can be bought.
It's bad.
It can be bought.
Yeah, it can be bought, exactly. So.
Charisma can be bought. You can get a good speaker to handle PR for your business, sit in the engine room and make things happen.
It's not necessary.
So there are entrepreneurs indisciplined.
Some.
No, they say that the myth is that as an entrepreneur, I mean, you don't have to be bothered about anything. You are on your own. Are they indisciplined?
There is a book by Brian Tracy called Discipline. It's the word discipline. And that if you can't master discipline, you can't, because discipline is about self-mastery. If you can't master yourself first, you can't master the business and you can't master people.
So let me add to that. I think the missing word is successful entrepreneurs. Because everybody is saying they're entrepreneur. I came back, everybody's an entrepreneur, right? And they are struggling. Why are they not successful? So the phrase should be successful entrepreneurs. So if you are successful, then you have to be disciplined with your time management. You have to be disciplined with everything you go through, the challenges, your resources that you've gone through, what we have gone through. That is it. That's why some people are struggling. What could take you a year or two to turn around, comfort, is taking the other person 20 years and they are praying, hoping for the best. But if you have a bad attitude, how do you expect your business to go? If you are in a customer service environment and then you're an entrepreneur and then you have a bad relationship in your environment and you're not successful, it's not your problem. You got to go for coaching. So I think
financial discipline is one of, I think, the biggest hurdles for entrepreneurs in Africa. Because every entrepreneur, most indisciplined entrepreneurs manage finances first. The minute you get one contract, He wants the latest car.
The biggest house.
The biggest house. It's not about how do we even save. Bill Gates said the first thing he did in his business was to save enough money to pay workers for 5 years without sweat before he developed the business. We don't think like that. It's about how much does a Range Rover cost? What's the latest one? How much can I buy it? Buy a house in here, there. So financial discipline is very key. Most empires have collapsed because of that.
Guys and ladies, you heard it all. Today we are talking about the creation stage of an entrepreneur. Next week you see which stage we will go to. We'll go to the process. We'll go to the process stage or adding value to our organization. So next week, do not miss. I mean, unfortunately our time is all gone. Kwabena Festus, Kwabena, your spelling is serious. Kwabena Festus says that if you are comfortable sleeping, you don't have a dream. You don't have a dream. And with Kwabena's no dream, no vision, no idea, and therefore no business in the future, we would like to end today's program. I'd like to encourage you, go to on Sunday evening, do watch Reverend Albert Okran and Ne Amankra Tete as he shares his career and a professional journey as an executive banker and what helped him remains relevant on this Sunday at 7 o'clock on Joy FM or on Facebook or on YouTube. Join Albert as he interviews Ne Amankra Tete. On Monday at 5 p.m. you can watch the same program at Joy Prime. Join us as well on Sunday at ETV as you watch this program again at 5 p.m. on Sunday evening. The production team, you have been phenomenal as usual. Sir Evans and Sir KB. I would like to say thank you. Do you have any closing comments that you would like to give to us today?
I would say that never look down on yourself. Sometimes the biggest failures that we have is ourselves. So never look down on yourself. Focus on your own space and believe in yourself. That is your success story first.
Never give up. It doesn't matter how tough it gets, how rough it gets. Do anything, but don't give up.
Kelvin.
Yes, ma'am.
How is the Springboard Queen coming up?
Okay, so I'm done now.
You are done?
Yes, please. So this is the pencil work. So the next time we meet, I'll be transferring it into an animation or like a 2D artwork.
So you are adding value. Next time when we meet, you add value to this artwork.
Yes,
and that is what we'll be creating. That's what we'll be talking about next week when we come to the studios. How can entrepreneurs add value to the idea or to the concept that they dreamt about? Today, we looked at the stage of the canvas. Till next week, we'll add value. It's been our pleasure to come to you this week. We enjoyed ourselves, and we know you also did enjoy the program. Till we come your way again next week, please start thinking, what do I have in my house? What do I have in my hands? What do I have anywhere that is around me that I can use to create value and give to people who would love it and they will pay for it? So we come your way next week. Have a phenomenal week. We love you. Enjoy yourself. Mwah.
He's always turning around. Whoa, whoa. Turn around.